Welcome to We. The Thunder. We are back. Opening night. Thomas Cooley is outside as the rain's starting to come down after a Lightning 6-2 loss. The stash is in his parents' basement, and I don't know if you noticed, Stash. I am also right here with you. So tonight we had a.
We were wondering if you were going to figure it out.
I really wasn't paying attention. I would have figured out, obviously, eventually.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything.
That's funny.
All right, so tonight, wonderful start of the evening. You know, we got the NHL on ESPN back. We've got the banner being raised, but unfortunately, the Bolts just did not play Bolts hockey tonight. And you know what? Guess we've got an 82-game season this year. So anyone that's panicking, I see you guys on Facebook right now. Chill. Just chill. We have 81 games left. We have a full season for the first time in 2 years, so it's going to be okay. Thomas Cooley, what was it like at the arena tonight?
For the beginning, it was amazing. Sonia announced yesterday on Twitter that she was coming back. She had actually sent me a video of her singing the national anthem, the Canadian anthem, probably about 2 weeks ago, but asked me not to share it. And so I've been waiting for her to finally make the announcement that she was going to be here. When she finally made the announcement, very emotional time for her and some of the fans. You could see some of the fans being like, "Oh, I'm crying." It was a really good ceremony for the banner raising. It was nice seeing Paul Kennedy be the master of ceremonies, someone who's been with us from the beginning on Sun Sports. So it was great seeing him. The game inside, still preseason, right? Preseason game 7?
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to really break it down, we're already seeing these comments. We lost to the Penguins B team. Yeah,
we did.
But let me say this, regardless of how they skated or what they skated with or how much they practiced, this is a Lightning team. We were talking about in the chat earlier today, right? This is a Lightning team that's played more hockey than any team in the last 2.5 seasons, right? 2.5, like year and a half, really, right? 18, 20 months, some shit like that. No one's played more hockey. They played more meaningful hockey than anybody. And yeah, they're resetting a little bit here on their roster, and they're gonna have to find out what line is that identity line that they can come out and start at the beginning of every period, and what line's gonna gel and kind of take that role over that the Gord line had. It's not necessarily going to be the third line. I think maybe that second line. The more they get out there and the more they get that opening period face-off, the more they kind of feel that identity in that role. But this team is going to take a little bit, I think, to get their motor running, and I think it's a good thing for them. I think it's okay for them to take their time. We were talking about it, Shooter, before. I'm okay if they have a slow start. You know what I mean? So I'm not panicking. These guys never they're playing like one line a night during the preseason, right? So these guys didn't roll with each other. They were playing mixed combinations. It is still a preseason game. It's, for me, I still think the next 2 weeks are at least going to be kind of like a preseason feel to this team a little bit, and kind of taking their time to gel. And I think that eventually we're going to start seeing Corey Perry pay dividends for this team as far as getting that motivation and that hunger again for the three-peat,
Yeah, I'd messaged you guys earlier because I had spoke with someone inside the team, and they said that they felt like...
Who's the asshole there that won't shut up?
he had a fine time at the game.
I'm trying to find out where he's at, what the hell he's cheering about.
Just being an asshole, probably.
Yeah. But I had told you guys that this person inside the team had told me that it's going to be very hard for them to three-peat. They're very tired right now. There's not great motivation because they are so tired in that locker room. And the thing they pointed out is you never win a Stanley Cup without a third line. So we're gonna have to develop that third line. Yeah, we don't have to have the scoring coming from that third line, but there's got to be some kind of identity with that third line.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be the identity of the team. You know what
No.
I'm saying? It has to be, and I think that line is going to be fine. The third line is going to be fine. And I think, obviously, Coop was already out there kind of switching it up a little bit. But, this is something that happens. Well, they were even saying on the broadcast, like 4-11 or 4-7 out of the last 11 Stanley Cup winners. You know what I mean? It's that banner hangover kind of thing. It's not uncommon. And especially because we're the last team playing and we're the first team to start again, So this isn't about an excuse. This is about the facts and how this team is going to be a little bit different this year than the last 2 or 3 seasons. That's just going to be the facts. And I don't think you're going to have to worry about this team finding the right gear and being right in the thick of the things come middle of the season.
Something I saw inside the arena right before they brought the Stanley Cup on the ice. And right before they took it off the ice, Stammer walked over and gave the cup a couple taps and then skated away from it.
We'll be seeing you. Yeah, we'll be seeing you.
See you soon.
Welcome home.
I think it's gonna be a tough season. It's not gonna be like the last 2 seasons. They lost a quarter of the team. And remember, last season after we won the cup, last season was different. We're back to the regular NHL season. Last season, during the regular season, we were only playing these same teams over and over again, and we weren't playing the rest of the NHL. And you got to think, when you play against a team that's won the Stanley Cup and now 2 Stanley Cups in a row, those teams are going to give you their best shot. So that's kind of what we got from the Pens tonight. And I give them credit, even without Malkin and Crosby. They were on their game tonight. They beat us to pucks.
Jari looked like Marc-Andre Fleury or Matt Murray back there.
Tested. He didn't get tested.
No,
he got tested on one shot.
He didn't have to. He didn't really have to be that good.
There was that one shot from point that was going 5-hole that he made a really great save on. And other than that, they really didn't test him at all.
Talk about point and Cooch. They didn't even have a shot on net midway through the second period. I see this.
Lost. Yeah,
I see this thing from Sarah risking the empty net so much wasn't a smart choice. Actually, it's the only way we scored. So, we couldn't play 5-on-5 hockey to save our life. So, the passes weren't there. A lot of passes were in the feet. I seen another thing that said it was a slow game. It was very slow.
Yeah.
Very slow. When you're in the building, it seemed like those periods lasted 60 minutes apiece.
Yeah. And that's the thing I was noticing too. They were like, "Oh, we're ESPN on the broadcast." I know you're in the building, but the broadcast is talking about, "Oh, we're gonna have these new angles. We're gonna try some new stuff out. We're gonna be on the ice, and you're gonna see it as such a fast game." And I'm like, "The wrong game to start debuting this technology."
They have this.
I want to wait until the evening game.
They have this camera that's on 5 different strings. It looks like the one that's on the football fields.
Right.
It just dangles there, and you just see it moving from the end.
Fucking Dan hates everything, dude. Dan's coming in with a negative attitude. You and Dan hanging out there, Schoolie?
No.
You guys just don't like anything, man. I swear to
I'm
God,
all by
dude.
myself.
I thought ESPN was fantastic. ESPN was fantastic, dude. The only thing I hated was no shots on goal.
There were some things I liked about ESPN, but I don't care about this hanging camera, which I could get used to. I kind of liked it, but to your point, Thomas, when they had that view, it looked like it was my team out there playing beer league hockey. It looked so slow. Yeah. The one thing I freaking want from ESPN is give us a 4K hockey game, please.
That's the emergency goaltender right there.
Oh, really?
Grab
him. Right. He might be starting next week because Massey looked a little bit off. So actually, let's break down the game real quick, and then also what we're gonna do is we're gonna give some predictions for this season, and we're gonna write them down. I'm gonna bury them in the backyard, and we're gonna dig them up at the end of the season, see who was the closest. So
real quick. Kevin Collins here is blaming Melrose for wearing a blue tie. I'm blaming ESPN for having Melrose on the broadcast, period. But it was hilarious because Levy trolled the shit out of him coming into the show, and they were talking about how good the Lightning had been and blah, blah, blah. And they, right at the end, he was like, hey, Melrose, you used to coach the Lightning, didn't you? And like, Melrose, he's like, I told you not to mention that. And like, he was like, oh man, like it was hilarious.
It's a good 2-week run.
Hell out of him. So, Melrose being in our building is absolutely a thing to blame as far as karma and as far as superstition. Having Melrose within 1,000 feet of our arena during game day is enough to lose.
That could have been why Levy just had 7 security around him when he walked past me. But on TV, who stood out in your guys's? Because I'll tell you, being at the arena, who I kept my eye on and I thought looked real good.
I can tell you who looked really bad tonight, but as far as standing out, Vasi in the first period played really well, but then like in the second period, he screwed up right away and led to that first goal.
Yeah.
I
mean, I can't really like Hedman looked good.
See, I didn't think so. I had 2, McDonough and Joseph. McDonough, I thought, made some real good saves, and behind the plays, he was really doing it. And I thought Joseph was threading the needle pretty good. There was a time he was on that PK, and he was down there all by himself. He wasn't getting no help at all, and he was threading it right through 3 different Pens guys. And I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
That's what we need.
That was a good the penalty kill looked good. There were only 2 penalties in the game, so each team got a power play, and it looks like our PK lines are going to be Killer and Sorelli. They played well together, and then you got Matty Joe with Belmare, and they were pretty dominant for the 30 seconds they were out there. So hey, the silver lining of tonight, PK looks good.
Tiffany said, why did we keep Ruda? A, he's cheap.
Yeah.
2, his shot. That's about it.
and 3, Hetty does a pretty good job of covering him up.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's Route 2, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Once again, you already coming and saying it wrong this season. It's Route 2, first and foremost, Route 2. And second of all, you guys nailed it. And like I said, also Hedman does a good job of covering him up. And he's played good hockey throughout periods and stretches over the last couple seasons. And again, I think the more Hedman gets his body back out there healthy and gets his feet under him, I think the rest of the team is going to kind of find their flow, because I think we all know that really it goes to
some bad passes.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't alone. He was not alone.
No.
There were so many guys. I mean, even Killer, he got the goal off of the empty net when they had 6-on-5, but he had an opportunity right there coming right down Broadway or on the wing with Stammer and come down Broadway, and he passed it instead of taking that shot. And he really needed to take that shot.
Yeah.
So, and normally he does. And so I think that once again, I don't want to say here in this book, oh, they don't have to play the game. It's game 1 block. Because, every point matters in the long run. We've seen that happen how many times in the NHL. But at the same time, I do think it's going to be a long season. I think a lot of teams are going to be wearing thin depth-wise. I think a lot of teams are going to have to deal with injuries and fatigue, just like the Lightning will. Every team will. And I think the Lightning are probably one of the teams more well-equipped to handle it mentally and to handle the struggle and the grind, especially knowing what the end result is all about and knowing what that feels like. So, again, there's guys up and down the line that didn't play well tonight, but we raised a banner for our 2nd cup in a row. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't get shut up. Lightning has never been shut out in a opening night game.
They've also had won their last 7 home openers until tonight. What's the deal with the banner? So I understand how they did it on the other side for just presentation wise, but like they're going to put that sucker back on the other side, right?
I'd imagine that they're going to take down, if you notice, they took down like the Atlantic from 2003, 2004. They took down those banners. I'd imagine one of our either Eastern Conference or our President's Trophy or one of those banners are going to be removed. They really can't go further down because it's going to be too much over the fans. It's not going to be over the ice. So they're going to have to remove one of those, non-Stanley Cup banners.
Yeah, well, or make them smaller. I think
Right.
maybe move them to the side. I mean, eventually they're going to have to make the Vinny and Marty ones smaller because you're going to have 91, 77, 88 probably up there.
86.
And 10, whatever. I don't know how long they wait, but
18 other numbers after
those
off
are
of this
massive.
roster.
Those are
Off of this
like,
roster.
Vinny and Marty's banners are
Yeah,
massive.
I know they are. They're huge, dude. They're huge.
So they're gonna have to figure out some rearranging. Remember, the first banner was this huge banner, which is now, I guess, over in Brandon. We figured out last season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Stanley Cup huge one that.
Yeah, the one that's like cut
30
out on
feet
one
tall,
side.
yeah.
That was so cool.
All right, so
97 and if you left early from the game tonight, you didn't get your schedule magnet, and they're pretty nice, so you suck for leaving early.
Oh, they gave them out on the way out, huh?
Yes, and there was no way of all the 62 people that messaged me and asked me to get them one of those little banners that they're giving away for free. That didn't happen because they put them in everybody's cup holders. And then they did have a box near the stairs near me, and I was going to go get some, and they removed the box when they saw
You should have just taken the whole box.
There's the schedule magnets.
Oh, it says back to back. Thank goodness. So another cool fact about this game was Pittsburgh's coach is going to coach Team USA, and Cooper's going to be coaching Canada. So those guys are going to be going head to head in the Olympics, the same matchup. So that'll be kind of fun to watch. I'll be cheering against Cooper for the Olympics and a lot of our guys.
Yeah.
So that was cool. First period, it sucks to break down this game. The first period was awful. It was slow.
Second period was awful.
500 times.
50 icings.
Like I said earlier,
like bakery out there.
Vasi seemed like the only guy in the game. Stopping 14 shots. We had 7. It didn't seem like we had more than 3. Then you start that second period. Vasi has the bad turnover, leads directly to a goal 12 seconds in. Brian Boyle scores the second goal. Brian Boyle, who signed like yesterday with Pittsburgh, who I know, like, let's go. Let's get the comments over with. I wish he was our.
I wish he was on the Lightning. I wish he was
there you go. That's why. This is why I can't cheer for, sorry, Yanni Gord. I loved you when you were a Lightning player, but guess what? I ain't cheering for you anymore, man. You're making your debut right now, releasing the Kraken. I can't cheer for players that aren't on our team anymore. So Brian Boyle, take a hike. That's why, because he scored on us, and that was a huge goal to put them up 2-0. After that, we got the power play. Kept trying to force it to point. Like they must have. They were trying to get that puck right in the middle of the point. He did kind of get one shot off, or he got a couple shots off. One clean shot, missed the net. Got a good chance after the power play, which we obviously didn't score on, and he completely whiffed on it. Cooch gave him a nice pass. I thought, Point, he still had the speed that you're used to with Point, but overall, I thought he had a pretty off game. Same with Cooch. They just couldn't really get much going. And then you saw the Tampa Bay penalty for too many men, the worst penalty ever. Hate that penalty. That's a stupid mistake when you have too many guys on the ice. Period ends 2-0, bad guys. Third period, just kind of more of a shit show. Lightning definitely kind of put it on more. It was that slow, wrist shot that got redirected in front. You want to see Vasi save that, but when it gets redirected like that, sometimes those change-ups are the hardest ones if you ask goalies. 6 minutes left, we pull Vasi. We score a goal finally. It was Cirelli with a redirect from a Hedman shot. It was the first time we saw them all night actually look like they wanted to score a goal, though. Unfortunately, it was with an empty net, and it was too little, too late. Pens came back, score 3 empty net goals the rest of the game. We got one more. Killer finally pulls the trigger which he should have done earlier in the game.
Right.
But at that point, it was over with. I think that pulled us to within 4-2, but we had to keep that net empty for the rest of the game. So, Not ideal for the first game, but let's remember the last 2 seasons we have not had full seasons. We have not had 82 games 82 games in a season. So you got to consider that we have a long way to go. One game's not going to define this team. And hey, maybe they needed an ass kicking to start the season so they can realize, hey, this ain't going to be that easy. They have had it pretty easy the last 2 seasons. And I almost felt like we kind of walked right to the Stanley Cup in the last couple of years, only facing elimination once in the playoffs. This year's going to be different team. They're going to take a while to adjust to each other. Hey, we might change the lines. You might not see those top 2 lines stay the same. If they don't start generating anything, like not Thursday, they're not going to change it yet, but different team. They might have different lines. We'll see what happens.
Well, and that's exactly it, man. The more they actually start practicing as this actual squad, by the way, there was only 3 days ago this roster was finalized. Was it 3 days ago?
With Radish and Kachuk.
Yeah. So this roster was only finalized a couple of days ago. As these guys start actually practicing every day together and start traveling together and start finding their chemistry, I don't really see these lines staying the way they are. And I could easily start seeing those top 6 guys maybe even get shuffled around a little bit. Finally, Jesse coming in with a sense of voice of reason here, understanding that this isn't the NFL and one game isn't a 16th of your season. So it's a little bit embarrassing to come in your barn. Okay, it's embarrassing to come in and have that team beat you the way they did tonight. That's no doubt. I'm not saying
the last 2 back-to-back champions.
But right, and that's the other thing too. I mean, sure they're depleted, but this is still a team that is proud, a team that has history, a team that wants to play well because once Crosby and Malkin are back, they still have a shot of making the playoffs and making a run. So whether those guys are there or not, that's still a team that is good and deep and is well coached and played good hockey tonight and knows how to play good fundamental hockey.
Didn't they finish first in their makeshift division last year?
Yeah, like
that's a good division.
I think so. Yeah, that was exactly that was a pretty legit division they were in. Probably I think it was like the best they would say. So yeah, even without those 3 guys, this is still a good Penguins team. So it's embarrassing to come out and play that way as the defending champions at home. It sucks that it sucks for the fans, but this is by no means what we're going to be seeing, I believe, in a month from now at all, or even in I think 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to see this team playing much, much better hockey.
Well, in the interview with Radish, he said that they were just told after the last preseason game that they had made the roster.
Yeah,
and that they would be starting tonight.
Yeah, so there you go. Right, this isn't the Jaguars.
And that's the quote of the night. I saw the funniest meme. It's not hockey related, but it was like Urban Meyer saying, "At least I'm not John Gruden" or something like that. Oof. Anyway, so yeah, what a crappy game tonight. Plenty of games to go. I think these guys are going to be fine. I think we might end up with a better team at the end of the year. I know a lot of people like Thomas, you don't believe in this third line. I think Corey Perry can produce more than any of those guys on the third line. And
actually, I think Bellemare is going to be someone who we talk about at the end of this season. I think he's going to be a great addition to this team. I think he is going to be the new Yanni Gourde.
There you go.
Yeah, he needs some more ice time. Although he's buried on that 4th line, and Patty Maroon just played way too much tonight. I didn't see the numbers, but I just felt like he was on the ice just because ESPN had him mic'd up.
Right. You want to talk about a slow game? I wonder why.
Let me see.
Patty had like 25 minutes of ice time.
What was he at? And there, Radish. It was Radish's debut, right? His NHL debut. 10 minutes, -2.
Yeah.
Not a great start for him, but we need him. We lost ABB to the Kraken, and they
gave up ABB really. So
the rumor is that there was a couple other teams that also put in for ABB on the waivers.
Yeah,
but the Kraken was probably first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was gone the second he hit waivers. I was hoping they'd sneak him down, but He's got too much upside. The thing is, he just had he had
800
chances
centers
last year, and he just never produced.
No,
he
and we have
wasn't doing
800
anything in
centers.
preseason.
If there's one thing we have way too many of, it really is centers. Even after losing Yanni, we still have way too many centers on this team. So, and everyone's
Maroon-
going to say, "Oh, it is whatever." But how many minutes did
Maroon
Big Rig
played
have?
almost 12 minutes, and actually the fourth line, it looks like they got more time than third line, which is strange.
Yeah.
I love that comment from Kevin. I wanted to see the ESPN cable cam get zapped by the Tesla foil.
That's
Good concept,
hilarious.
but didn't look good on TV.
Yeah.
We were talking about it there in the arena. It was bouncing up and down.
Yeah, and I liked the higher angle from the corner because we have a little bit better resolution. I know Shooter still wants a 4K game, and I agree, but it's still better than it was in the 90s when I started watching the late 80s. So they had that kind of higher shot from the corner. It was like kind of like up above the boards, and I really liked that view a lot. But yeah, it's going to be. I personally think that ESPN is going to really dedicate themselves to having a really good hockey coverage. I don't think they're half-assing this whatsoever. They're taking it really seriously here, and I think it's going to lead to a lot better viewing experience for the fans.
I like the intermission, guys.
The answer for this: why couldn't we trade ABB and get something for him? We couldn't afford anything. I mean, ABB was a very small contract, so if we were going to get anything for him, it had to have been something very small.
Plus, that must have been a last-minute roster decision. This is who we're going with, and they probably didn't have time to.
What did it say? We came in $875 under the cap, not 8,000. $875 under the cap.
But what about getting just like a 4th round pick or 6th round pick? Like we've been pretty good at picking those players, but I think it was just a timing thing. There you go, Pat Maroon banged your mom. I'm with you, except for that awful screen name. Actually, it's not that awful. It's funny.
It's not terrible.
All right, so do us a favor, hit the share button or hit the like button. We're gonna do some predictions. You guys can play along with us.
Here comes Paul Porter.
You're gonna have to write your own. Is that the ESPN crew?
No, it's Paul Porter, the voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning, the in-arena voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I've got about 10 questions now. I'm not going to record your questions or your answers in the chat, but you're welcome to write them down and bury them in your own backyard. So we're just going to go down the list here and talk about what's going to happen this season with the Lightning. So, boys, what do you say? First question is, who is going to be the Bolts' biggest rival within the division? When I talk about that, I want to talk about if it's the Bolts and one other team kind of jostling for that first place spot like we think it's going to be. Who's that going to be? We got a lot of good teams in the Atlantic.
Panthers.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go with the easy one here, but yeah, I think it's going to be us and the Panthers.
There's going to be no doubt. I don't even think there's any. I think they're 1-2 in the division, and I think everybody else is hands way far down. Carolina's got nothing.
No, Carolina's back in the Metro.
Back in the Metro.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, who do we have? Detroit. Detroit's nothing. Toronto.
Chicago.
I'm picking Toronto for the record because they had a hell of a regular season last year and they should be better. They just lost slow old Joe Thornton to your Panthers. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I did forget about that. I mean, Boston's going to be there in the top, but I just think that it's going to, well, here's the thing. I don't think the Lightning are necessarily going to be leading the division all the way through, and I'm not even going to say that they are going to win the division. Honestly,
let's go. That's a perfect segue to the next question.
So therefore, it's hard to say who their biggest rivalry is going to be. I think we always have the rivalry with Boston, and I think coming off of the Rays and the way that came off in the playoffs, I think there's going to be a lot of friction built in carrying over to hockey season. So there's always that rivalry. And like you said, Toronto's going to be really good. And we don't really like Toronto that much anymore either. And it's been a while since we played them. So getting back to a regular season series with Toronto, we could see some friction starting to build there too. But the potential matchup in the playoffs early on, because they could be at the top of the division and we could be in the middle of the division.
All right, so you guys going Panthers. Looks like the majority in the chat's going Panthers. I'm going Toronto. All right, so in the Atlantic Division, what place will the Lightning finish?
I would say, I think probably second, third. I don't think they're going to finish first, but I think they're going to be right there just above the wild card.
I think second.
Yeah.
Second?
I think Florida takes first and we take second.
Ash, are you going to stick with second or third?
You know, I'll be optimistic and say second. Not that I think third is the end of the world either. As long as we're in the playoffs, that's all that matters. But I think I see the Lightning making a late run, so that's why I think that they can end up pulling off second there in the division.
Yeah, I said second as well. I think we're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if we've got kind of the steam to win a division this year.
Early, that's what I say. Not early on. I think we're going to come out of the gates a little bit slow, but we'll turn it on late, which will give us a push to third, maybe second. So
cool. All right, second across the board. I'm seeing some thirds. I'm seing Dan. Come on, Dan.
There he is.
You gotta stick
Already,
with us, Dan. Fourth. That's not a playoff spot, is it? That's out. It's on a wild card.
Well, it depends. Yeah.
Dallas says Florida, Boston, Tampa. All right, so this is a tough one. Remember, we haven't played a full season in 2 seasons now. But how many points do you think the Bolts will reach this season? I'm gonna say a solid 110. That should land them right around a second place in their division.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'd say the over-under is probably right there, like 105, 110, and maybe, like I said, the late season run they could be 112, 114, something like that. But 108, I would say probably is where I'm looking.
108.
Yeah.
Holy.
I'm gonna go in between you guys. Oh no, I'm gonna go right below 107. Well, price is right at. I'm a price is right at
107.5.
Thomas wants to play the
classics from 70s and 80s.
He wants to play the Price is Right. He's going to be like, I'll go with a
$1.
No, that'll be
all right.
$1.
Let's see, between 90 and 100. What else we got? 90, 96. No, these are pretty low.
96 low.
Yeah, 95. Tiffany's going in at 103. All right, I guess I'm the most optimistic after this first game. I said 110 before the game when I was coming up with these questions. All right, so talk about Vasi now. He holds the record for most wins by a Bolts goaltender. And I think the last 4 seasons he's led the NHL in wins. I'm curious how many wins you think Vasi's going to get this season. And I'll start because I think they're going to give Vasi a little bit more rest, knowing they got that veteran backup in Elliott. I'm still going to put a high number up there. I'm going to say 40, which is a pretty high number. But what do you guys think? 44 is the Bolts' all-time record for wins.
I would say 35. Because I agree with you. I think Elliott is going to see quite a few starts. I think he would see 5 or 6 more starts than an average backup, and maybe even a couple more, depending on how the whole team looks, like I said, going down the stretch. Because I think that what this team is looking at is a war of attrition this year. So it's just about making the playoffs. It's not about first or most points. It's just about let's get there this year, So, yeah, I think Vasi is going to see less starts. So 36. Let's say 36. Let's keep it even. 36.
You say 36 wins?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just doing some calculations here.
Right.
I'm looking to see how many back-to-backs they have. 5, 6 back-to-backs.
That's it, the whole season? That's crazy.
Yeah.
What do we have? Like last season, we had like
32,
20.
2 back-to-backs. Every game was a back-to-back.
I say wins. He's gonna break the record. He's gonna do 45.
Wow.
Okay.
You think he's just going to play all the games?
Vasi is Vasi. Vasi's not going to sit that many games.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to listen. It's hard to argue with that.
Vasi doesn't allow it. I mean, as long as we can get this team going, I mean, how are you gonna fight with a Venza finalist, winner, probably winner again someday. You can't. He's going to want this. They're going to have that nice 2 weeks off with the Olympics and stuff that he's going to play for Russia, win the gold medal for the motherland, and then come back here and win another
thing
Stanley
that might
Cup.
contribute to him not playing as much.
Yeah. He's going to be.
Yeah. So
playing.
I thought let's give me a pat on the back for coming up with these like hard hitting questions like that one, because this is a real thing to keep an eye on this season.
Pat.
All right. By the way, I put the line out there if you guys want to call in. I see Kimberly waiting. So let us just get through what we have, like 5 more questions here. And if anyone else wants to call in, because after that, we're going to wrap it up until next week. All right. So another perfect segue, Thomas, talking about awards. What Bolts do you think can win an award this season? Just pick one. If one Bolt's going to win an award, is it going to be Vasi for
Vezina?
Is it going to be Hedman for Norris? Are we going to have a Rocket Richard goal scorer? Are we going to have a Hart Trophy winner in Cooch?
MVP.
I actually have 4 that I would pick.
Well, pick one. You know the rules.
Fuck.
JBB is GM of the year.
This guy. Okay. I like that. Kind of like the out of nowhere dark horse, but one of the, I think, yeah, that's a really good one. I think it's Hetty Norris.
See, I don't think Hetty gets it.
I think he's back 100%. If he goes 100% all season and doesn't get banged up, I think it's his to lose.
Yeah, I originally wrote that, but since I knew one of you guys was going to say that, I'm going to go with Cirelli getting a little bit of love with that Selke, because
you think he finally gets the Selke, huh?
He was getting some votes. He got 3rd last year, right? So we'll see. According to who was it, Dan, he's got to step up his game.
Garbage.
He's got the first goal of the season.
Yeah. Well, Selke's for defending. I saw him make some pretty good defensive moves.
He still plays. And it's funny because on the broadcast, they said that Cooper mentioned that Sorrell is going to be getting a look for the Canadian team.
And then they were wondering, shat on him, saying he has no chance.
Right. And then what did they name though? All they named was super offensive guys, right? All basically one-way players, not a single two-way forward.
Well, who builds that team? Because that's a tough decision to make. Because do you just take all these freaking snipers and superstar players? Like, you should know to build a team, you have to have like role players. And I don't know,
you have to have a two-way guy.
I'm sure Coop has to say in some of this.
I think Coop only has a little bit of say. You remember that was the big friction between Marty St. Louis and Yzerman, when St. Louis did not get picked for Team Canada and Yzerman was the GM. So there's a GM, and then I think the coach has some things to say about it. But
yeah, well, I know there's some coaches' picks, but I think they all kind of do it differently too. It depends on the country. I think they all kind of do it their own way. So it'll be interesting to see. And as Tiffany said, it's going to be hard to really root against some of these teams because a lot of our guys are playing in the Olympics, and I know who I'm rooting for. It's pretty clear for me, but it's definitely going to be great to watch all these other teams when normally it's not as interesting to watch these teams if you don't know the guys. So we're going to know a lot of guys on a lot of the teams, so it's going to be fun to watch more than just USA hockey.
Yeah, we're gonna continue this podcast through the Olympics. I think.
I think so too.
Maybe we'll do a special. Maybe we'll do a Team USA podcast. But I'll cheer for all our guys when they're not playing USA. But at the end of the day, it's red, white, and blue, baby. Okay. So next question: who will lead the Bolts in scoring this season? There's probably 3, maybe 4 guys that you can put at the top of this list. You want me to go first?
Goals or points?
Goals. Points is coming next. Points is coming next, by the way.
Okay. Go. I guess.
I'm going point for goals. I think Point's going to continue that projection, and they were feeding him tonight during that power play. So I think he's going to lead the team in goals.
I say point for goals.
You know, I really want to say in an 82 game season, healthy, with that. Sorry, I just saw somebody's vote, and I think she's serious, and I'm not trying to laugh at it. It just
this
got me
will
off
be
there.
like best case
Yeah.
scenario
That
for the
is-
Lightning if this
right?
happens.
If it's one of those guys, that'd be amazing.
Well, no,
Especially
if
with
it's one
goaltending.
of those, it could be bad.
Well,
No,
right.
no.
It's-
Remember what I said earlier. They might change up these lines. If they're not
Right.
scoring in the next week, you might see Ross
and that-
Colton on the first
on that
line.
First line. Well, and that's what I was trying to say though. With the absence of this third line, they're going to be trying to find a little bit more room there. And healthy 82 game season, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Steven Stamkos lead this team in goals again. Honestly,
That's an interesting one. You're going to go
the
with
power
Stammer?
play. I think so. With the power play, if it's a full power play all season long, I think he could be looking at just as many goals as Point on that power play. And like I said, with the third line gone, I see that second line stepping up and soaking up a lot of those minutes as the season goes on, especially as Killer gets a little bit more healthy. We've talked about Cirelli, how he's a shutdown center and he's looking at a Selke consideration. He's the kind of guy that can go out there and kind of be a Yanni Gord and be that two-way guy. And Killer's one of our best forecheckers and puck possession guys. So I could see that second line really stepping up and soaking up minutes. And that just means that Stammer gets more opportunities.
And the thing, I think it was Eric Erelson, the Lightning Insider, who was asked it on Twitter. Stammer's on that bubble on making the Olympic team. And so someone had asked, do you think the team's going to be feeding him to try to get him some goals to show that he belongs on the Olympic team?
Make it up, yeah.
And so you could be right, Shooter. They can be trying to get him on the Olympic team because he has said this will probably be his last chance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely his last chance, and I think he's got a tough. He's gonna have a tough time getting there.
Yeah.
Well, one of the good things is he is playing on the wing now, and he can play really either side. So I think that's one thing that'll help him out, and his power play abilities. You know, he's still one of the best forwards in the NHL on the power play.
And I wish I could find it, but it was only like 4 years ago, maybe 3, and I guess it was 4 years ago that Stamkos did lead the team, I thought, in goals.
Yeah.
2018, 2019, he had 45 goals.
Yeah.
So he's not that far off. And remember, he's been hurt every season basically since then. So if we see a healthy Stammer, I mean, that's a good pick, Stash. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
We'll check back at the end of the season.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it wasn't Schoolie coming out with this love for Stammer, but
it's really waning.
I guess Point is the safe bet. So good job on being safe.
Listen, if we're gonna go back to these and revisit these, and we have Stammer, who's injury prone, although he's my favorite player on the planet. He's injury prone. We're all very competitive, so I pick Point.
That's all right. I lead with my heart. I always have, always will.
Okay, so let's go to Point.
With his mouth.
Well, that's still connected to my heart.
Points, so scoring, goals, and assists here, and you guys are all wrong if you don't say Nikita Kucherov.
Right, coach.
There's zero chance that it's not Kucherov.
Right.
Dude can dish the puck like nobody else in the NHL, really. So
yeah.
Who do you think? How do you think Point's scoring all these goals that we're predicting?
Yeah. All the power play goals are either coming from Hedman or Cooch. So.
Yeah, Cooch if healthy. Cooch he's had a pretty good record of staying relatively healthy. Knock on wood. So.
Right.
And then that goes for everything that we're talking about tonight. I mean, if we get hit by the injury bug, like we're going to be in danger of missing the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
All right. This is a good one. New player or rookie who is going to emerge as a key player for the Bolts. So no one on the top 6, basically a bottom 6 guy or somebody still stuck in Syracuse or scratched.
It's for me. It's going to be. For me, it's going to be Corey Perry. I've said that before. I think for many reasons, but Corey Perry is going to be that guy that surprises a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning fans. And yeah, there's going to be maybe some young guys or some other guys that maybe have like numbers or something that I don't know. I still think Corey Perry is going to be the guy that comes through and really cements that bottom six and creates that depth of scoring and just a little bit of extra danger that you need on that third line, like Thomas was talking about earlier.
Yeah, but we all know. I don't think anything Perry will do is a surprise. I think everybody knows who Perry is, and they expect that kind of from Perry. I think Bellemare is going to be the unsung hero of this team. He's great on faceoffs. He's great on the PK. I think he's going to be the guy we talk about at the end of the season.
Okay, and I think I guess you're right, but I would say there's a lot of Lightning fans that are hating on Corey Perry and don't
they hate him just because of the last 2 years. But we know, as many times as we saw his wife in the bubble, we know what he can do.
Well, and I don't, I don't think you didn't say had to be surprising impact, right? You just said you were a rookie player that was had the biggest impact.
Right, you had said that we were going to be surprised, and I don't think any Tampa fan, if they've been,
I think the Corey Perry haters are going to be surprised how much they end up liking him. I guess is exactly what I was trying to say. You're going to end up in the end of the season going to be liking that guy.
I said that when we, on Thunderbolts, the day that the rumor was coming out, we were going to sign Corey Perry, and I posted rumors coming out, Corey Perry coming to Tampa. There was so much hate on it, and then when we signed him, there's so much hate. Now, 4 goals, 1 assist later in the preseason, and I said I couldn't wait to hear his name tonight. And I'll tell you, there was probably about a 75-25% mixture. You did have some boos out there, but you had 75% cheering for him.
Yeah.
Let's not forget who called Corey Perry on this show to join the Lightning before it happened. That was me.
It was one of our guests, wasn't it? Right?
Me.
Oh, was it?
Off-season special number 1. All right. So
I like Bellemare too, though. I think as soon as we grabbed him, he was one of those guys we all agreed that was going to be a good depth guy as well.
Yeah, and by the way, Tiffany, I said new Bolt or one of these rookie baby Bolts. So I'm also going to go with Perry. I think I said it earlier. He's got the ability to score. Like he was a goal scorer early in his career. He was a sniper. He was a guy that was scoring a lot of goals, and he's had to change his game. That's how you stay in the NHL. But I think he's got the ability to score more than Coleman, Gord, or who's the other guy we lost? Goudreau. So I think we might see him do some good things, but is he going to click with that third line that he's on right now? Only time will tell. But I think he's kind of a shoe-in to be kind of that guy that really steps up and becomes that key player. All right, so we only have 2 more. One's really just kind of a joke, but maybe not after tonight. Second to last one. Other than the Lightning, which Eastern Conference team will be the most dominant? So we kind of talked about in division, and you can say the Panthers again if you want to, but I'm talking about Eastern Conference. Who besides the Lightning is the team to beat?
Well, I guess since Thomas is taking a break, I'll go ahead and
I'm here.
Cover this one to begin with. Man, I don't know. This is really tough coming out of the Eastern, especially coming back to original divisions after 2 shortened seasons and the mix-up last year.
Panthers.
Yeah. You say Panthers. I still think Toronto is going to come out and play really well. And they're going to be that team, I think. I don't know. Yeah, probably Toronto. If I hate to, and again, regular season. Clearly, I'm only talking about regular season when I'm talking about Toronto being good. Regular season, Toronto. That's it.
Yeah, they ain't getting past the first round of the playoffs.
No.
By the way, Kyle, I did not say Perry would score more than Cooch.
No.
I said
he said Goudreau
more than Goudreau and Gord
and
the third line that we lost. Yeah. He's more of a prolific goal scorer, or has been.
Has the potential to be a more prolific scorer. I agree.
Shooter don't smoke that much until after the show.
That's right.
All right, so you're going with Toronto.
Yeah.
East. Gotcha. Schoolie?
Panthers. I think
You were
they're the
high on
team.
the Panthers.
I
I
think
can't
they're
trust
the
the
team to beat
Panthers
this
until they
year.
can do it back-to-back in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have shit goalies between Bobrovsky and Knight. I think they're going to have a big controversy with goalies down there, but they just got a lot of dangerous this year.
Race fan rocks knows what's up. It's the Islanders. They're going to be, besides us, hopefully, they're going to be the team to beat. They're us a couple years ago, right? They made it. They've made it to the doorstep so many times. They keep getting the team. They keep improving the team. Unless they hit a road bump, I think it's going to be the Islanders are going to be one of the teams to beat here in the East. By the way, speaking of Toronto, did you guys see the Amazon All or Nothing series, which used to be a football series, and they did Toronto last year?
No.
Well, they're on the show. I've forced myself to watch an episode and a half, and I just can't do it. Like I'm going to watch. Maybe I'll just go to the last episode because I just want to see this epic collapse all in the playoffs,
right?
Which it's all leading towards. But I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes long, and it's just like I don't like these guys. I don't want to see this.
I like that.
That's the ceiling cam.
We're innovating. So we innovate here on Shooting a Stash, just like ESPN.
All right, one last question. It was meant to be a joke, but after tonight, maybe it's not. Although he just signed a 3-year extension, does John Cooper get fired this season?
No, this year's free pass.
No, of course not. Yeah, definitely free pass.
No matter what happens, he's here, right?
They could shit the bed, and he will roll around in it and laugh.
He will roll around it and light more cigars. Right. Looking at pictures of the last 2 boat parades.
Yeah.
Yes.
That man's untouchable, at least for this season.
Yep.
Yeah,
and he did how it comes out.
3-year extension. Does that kick in after the season? The 3 years?
This year.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was his last year.
Right.
And
So
JBB got 3 too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. All right.
So
well,
I got a question for you. How long do they stay with Radish and Kachuk? Do they ride it out?
Well, weren't you the one that I saw someone say that Smith is injured right now, and Jamel, he's like banged up. Like I was surprised to see
Jamel is out.
I was surprised to see him even come out in gear tonight. So
yeah, well, he has been skating with the team,
okay.
But he's been in a red no contact jersey.
So I think as soon as he's back, he'll be seeing ice time 100%. As soon as he's healthy, I definitely think Jamel Smith will see ice time.
Yeah.
I think they'll give him a couple weeks because we are kind of running out of guys that are really ready to take that step. It seems like who do you think's the next guy that's going to come up from Syracuse?
You're gonna have Foot coming back also, so that's going to send Bogosian down.
Oh, that's right. Somebody was giving Foot some love in the chat too, and saying he would be that breakout player. Oh my God, I hope you're right. Like that would be a blessing in disguise. But he wasn't there last year. But I mean, look at Hedman his first year, right? Hedman was horrible his first year. You saw glimpses, but it's tough to be a young defenseman. But he's got the size, he's got the speed. His father played in the NHL. Usually bodes well.
He's going into his 5th year now, right? 4 years. Or is it? I need to have stuff in front of me.
In AHL, yeah. But
this was his 4th because he just signed after his entry.
Yeah.
This was his first contract after his entry.
So he's really only got like 2.5, 3 seasons of hockey NHL experience. And it takes like 6 seasons to get a real defenseman in their prime. You know, we've talked about it a few times before on the show. So that's kind of like the standard that everyone understands in the NHL. It takes a little bit longer for the blue liners to really get to their prime in this league. So
if we get to the point where Schuster comes back up, That's it.
That's
That's it.
that's when we start looking for draft picks. We got to start dumping salary and get some draft picks.
I'm gonna get my
he's
Panthers
not gonna
tattoo
do that.
then.
I think he's going to end up playing because you're going to have some guys get hurt, and he's going to be kind of that one of the next guys up on D, unfortunately. But
they're like, he cleared waivers. I'm like, really? Was there a doubt?
Yeah, I know, right?
all right, well, let's wrap this puppy up. By the way, this threesome right here will be in Nashville, and I know a lot of you guys will be
Music
in
City,
Nashville.
baby.
So, we got a couple months until that, but stay tuned. I'm sure the Thunderbolts are going to meet together. I know Sticks of Fire is hitting me up to see if we can meet up too. So
that's right.
Then
also,
me and the Stash have like the pad with the boys right downtown.
Right on Broadway. That's right.
It's going to be a fun weekend.
The boys will be buzzing right on Broadway. And then also Shooter and I, with not the other Stash, will be at the Colorado game as well. Here in a couple weeks, right? Isn't that this October, right? Yeah, a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. We should meet up if you guys want to meet up. That's the 23rd, so not this Saturday, next Saturday against Colorado. Thomas Schooley is just always there, but maybe we'll find a place to meet before the game. And what we're going to do this season is we're going to do Tuesdays. So we do have a lot of games on Tuesdays. So if that's the case, we'll be on after the game, like tonight. If there's not a game on a Tuesday, we will probably go live at like 9:00-ish, and we will probably try to get some of our like go-to guests like Eric and Joe and some of these guys to jump on with us.
We're going to try to work on some watch parties. We were trying one for this Thursday, which is my birthday, but I never heard back from the guy from the Tiki. I reached out to him 3 times. Never heard back from him.
Yeah, he was all in when we were there, but we'll find we got to find a place to do those. So definitely coming. I think we're going to shoot for like November, so we give everyone some notice. But yeah, that'll be fun. Nashville will be fun, and regardless of what happens this season, we've just won 2 cups. We're going for 3. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a different season, and let's not panic in this first month like we like to do. Remember, when was it? When we won the cup in 2020, didn't we kind of stink for the whole 2019? It wasn't really till January when we really started playing well.
Yeah,
right
let's remember that.
Yes,
right
it wasn't
Christmas.
until and that was coming off of the best season in the history, and then getting swept in the first round. So again, like I said, I think this is a team that's going to kind of be like that 2020 team that's going to take a few weeks and maybe a couple months to really see their best hockey. I think they'll win consistently here pretty quickly, but I think their best hockey is still probably a couple months away, really. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I think it's going to be fun. Like you said, we're going to see a whole new team kind of. Almost half this team is new, and they're going to come together and gel. We're going to have a whole new ride and a whole new experience with a bunch of new guys. And I see no reason really in the long run why once this team makes the playoffs, why they can't go ahead and make it all the way back to the finals again.
With that,
Thursday night we play against Detroit. I think that's going to be a good measuring stick. They've always been kind of our whipping younger brother. So we need to make sure we come out with a good statement. And Vassy, after he loses, he doesn't like to lose 2 in a row. So
and Bolts Nation's going to shit a brick if we lose.
Oh Lord, I will be on social media for a couple days.
All right, well, I'm going to end it for anyone that has not seen The Legend of Dave Anderchuk. We will let you go with this true story. This is 100% a true story that happened to me. A friend told me this story many years ago, maybe like 8 years ago. So we finally made it, and just have a good chuckle at it. But until next Tuesday, go Bolts. Hopefully we're 2-1 by then. Or wait, what do we have? 3 games? 3 games. Maybe 3-1. All right. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
A few friends from my hockey team attended the Tampa Bay Lightning's first ever fantasy camp. It was a camp for ham and eggers to train and skate with the pros from the Lightning. It even included a few alumni, including Bolts legend Dave Anderchuk. A few days after the camp, one of the guys who attended arrived early for one of our own hockey games. I asked him how the camp was. He said, "I'm still sore from all the skating and workouts we did." He also added, "You know, there's one thing I don't think I'll ever forget." He said, after the camp in the locker rooms, everyone was getting undressed. Some guys were hitting the showers, others changed quickly and left. He looked up, and out of the shower emerged Dave Anderchuk, wearing nothing but his towel. "Hell of a camp, boys. Showers are open." And as he raised his arms, his towel hit the ground. "Shooty," my friend said, "I don't see that many of those, but I shit you not, I thought this was a third leg, or a child's arm. It was like the Alamo, because I'll never forget." My jaw dropped in shock, not expecting this story to take that turn. And right on cue, one of the other guys on our team who attended the camp walked into the locker room, and I asked him, "Hey Sammy, how was Dave Anderchuk at fantasy camp?" Without hesitation, he replied,
"Huge, Caroline."